I want to welcome you to the Pro Mindset Podcast. The Pro Mindset Podcast is all about diving into the headspace that results in championship performance. High-performing athletes, winners, have this mental flow and have a positive headspace for their performances and success. Join me, Craig Domann, sports attorney and NFL agent, on this podcast. I will interview pro athletes, college athletes, football coaches, and sports personalities. Together, we can discover how you can get in the flow and have your own pro mindset. Hey, I want to welcome today a special guest, Luke Rhodes, long snapper, Indianapolis Colts. One of my favorite clients. Has worked himself from being a linebacker to becoming a long snapper. Didn't even long snap in high school, didn't long snap in college. Trained and learned the craft while he was in college, but never snapped in a game. Is that true?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. So here you have a guy in the NFL who's just became the highest paid long snapper in the NFL. He's only been doing it for a couple years and has ascended for multiple reasons to the top of his position group in the NFL. Because of his coverage ability, he's an athlete, former linebacker, and because of his skill set as a snapper, has become one of the best. So I want to welcome Luke to our show today.
Glad to be here, Craig.
It's
been a journey.
All right, it has been a journey. Okay, so let's walk through your journey from Pro Day, William & Mary, 2016 to today. Walk us through your career.
My career, I started 4 years in college at William & Mary, playing linebacker, middle linebacker, 2-year captain, and really thought my career was linebacker, and that's what I was training for during my combine prep and pro day prep, and went to the pro day, put up some good numbers, and had a good drill work and good session. So I felt good about it and
looked good.
I was, pretty slim and trim, and
you were hulked
worked out with no shirt on, of course.
You were hulked out, man, buff.
Did all that.
Looked the part.
All that look test stuff, and so it felt really good going into draft day, and ended up falling undrafted and being signed by the Buccaneers. Got to OTAs, ended up beating out the second string middle linebacker, and was going into training camp as the number 2. And had a really good training camp through practice, through preseason. Had a lot of tackles, made a lot of plays, and was released on the final cuts. For me, that was never the end of it. I never felt like it was the end of it. So I just kind of took the blow and went back to training, and got a call 5 weeks later to work out for the Colts, and earned a spot on the practice squad my rookie year, playing linebacker. Was on the practice squad for 9 weeks or 10 weeks. And then I was activated the last 4 games and played the last 4 games rookie year. And after that rookie season, my special teams coach we were just working on long snapping. Like, we'd throw a couple after practice, and I always told him I could do it. And I was on the special teams units, kickoff, punt return, all of them. And so I had a really good relationship with the special teams coach. And after my rookie season, he told me to really work on long snapping. I was like, all right, I'll work on it and just show that I can do something else or something. Came back to OTAs my second year, and they had cut the long snapper, so it was just me. And I was doing all the long snapping through OTAs, and then came back for training camp my second year, and they had brought in a rookie long snapper, and then there was me who was doing some long snapping and playing linebacker at the same time, and on punt team, kickoff, and all the special teams, and really felt like I could make the squad on special teams and be a backup linebacker, and was happy with what I was doing and that stuff. And then really kind of started to get in a rhythm long snapping too. And halfway through training camp, I went to our special teams coach, Tom, and I was like, hey, if you really want me to do this, I can't continue to do both because I'm not getting enough practice at long snapping and doing all that. And he was like, all right, we want you to do this. So started doing less and less linebacker stuff and more snapping. And then after the third preseason game, they traded the other long snapper and named me the starter. And I was like, holy shit, here we go.
And still hadn't snapped in a real game.
I'm still never snapped in a game in my life. Going into that season, I was talking to the GM before the first game and stuff, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, are you sure? Are you crazy? What am I doing? And he really reassured me and instilled confidence in me. He's like, look, we understand what we're doing. there might be bumps and bruises here and there in this first season or two, and we're going to weather them, we're going to learn, but you're a good enough athlete, you'll figure this out, you'll work hard. And I was able to put together a pretty decent first season snapping, and then came back and had a really good season last year. So I'm feeling really good where I'm at with snapping, and got a long snapper coach to really refine what I was doing and staying athletic enough to be one of the most athletic in the league.
You're probably the most athletic cover guy in the league. I'm sure there may be a couple guys out there that would like to argue that, but I think it's very likely that in the near future you're going to have an opportunity to play in the Pro Bowl. I know it's a little bit political, but if
long snappers for sure.
It is. So if you do your thing, though, I think it might be kind of cool at some point in time to have an opportunity to play in the Pro Bowl.
Definitely. I mean, I just keep doing what I'm doing and give them no other choice.
Absolutely.
That's all I can do.
No doubt. Let's talk about the NFL experience in terms of, we start out in OTAs with 90 guys. We go to training camp with 90 guys. Now, those 90 guys may not be the same because there's guys being changed all the time, guys cleaning out their locker, grabbing a trash bag and walking out the door, and new dudes coming in. And then you got this, now we have one cut, final cut in training camp, and we go all the way from 90 to 53, which is absolutely freaking crazy. Used to go to 75, now it goes 53. That's 37 dudes. Goodness gracious, that's over 40% of the team is cut in like a couple day period.
Yeah.
So what was your mental approach, whether you were in Tampa, now that you're in Indy, and you're not focused on getting cut. You're focused on being the best you can be, being one of the best in the league, earning your paycheck. You're not thinking about that. But a lot of guys in the locker room have to deal with that. Okay, at least 2/3 of them.
Definitely.
What do you see as the successful mindset that guys have? And what do you see as the sabotaging life mindset that guys have that get themselves cut?
Yep. Going back to Tampa, that was the last year we had 2 cuts. So there's cut to 75, then cut to 53. The first round of cuts was coming around, and I was still feeling good. I was still feeling confident. I was number 2 backer. I was leading the team in tackles. So I never had a feeling of, oh, this is going to be the day that I leave, and survived that round of cuts and played another. I guess there was only one game after that. Mm-hmm. Played the last game and had another 10 or 12 tackles and stuff, and was out apartment shopping when they called me and said, hey, we're going to let you go. And to me, I was like, I literally said, really? Because I always felt like that whole training camp was like put together really well. I did my job and knew my assignments and really felt good about what I was doing. But what you see in the locker room is people like counting reps or counting plays and like comparing themselves to the other guy they're competing with, and they start like leaving practice and be like, okay, I made 2 more plays than him, I should be okay, like stuff like that. Like when you start worrying about who makes plays and how many plays you made, how many plays they made, that's when you get yourself in your head and thinking about it too much. And you see the people that just go out there and learn their assignments first, don't make the mental errors, and just perform at their best level. Those are the guys that you see having success, and not the ones that are worried about, oh shoot, like he made a good play, like I need to make a good play kind of thing. They're just staying in their own lane and running their own race, and those guys are the ones that usually find success.
100% agree with you, Luke. I think one of the things that I've seen over the years is that when guys start counting reps, it's like they're playing not to get cut.
Exactly.
And they're hyper analyzing everything. Hey, is the coach talking to me? Is he looking at me? Is he coaching me? What kind of vibe am I getting from the vets? Where am I on the depth chart, and how many reps am I getting? And does a special teams coach pay attention to me? Because he has a big say, and he's a tiebreaker for a lot of players.
Big time.
Okay? And so as soon as, and I don't think players start doing that at the beginning of training camp,
mm-hmm.
but there's a shift in their approach at some point in time before they get to cuts. And it's usually when they start feeling like they might be losing traction. And candidly, almost all those guys get cut. Almost all of them. And then there's some guys that get cut that didn't see it coming because I thought they were making it. They weren't focused on getting cut. They were focused on making plays.
Definitely.
So, but I can guarantee you there's hardly anybody that makes a 53. Almost no one that was counting the reps that makes it.
Yeah, and I wanted to start from OTAs and make plays and build a foundation of my knowledge of the scheme and all of that stuff, so that by the time we got to the mandatory mini camp and then got into training camp, I felt like I had a step ahead. I could start day one and make plays because I knew what I was doing and not worried about, I'm only getting 5 reps today, I got to make every single one count. Like, you just go in and every rep you get, you just take advantage of it and know what you're doing. And those guys are not worried about anything other than just playing the game. And by the end of cuts, they've made enough plays and done their job enough times that they're not worried about it.
We're going to bounce around a little bit. What was the signature play for you when you knew you had what it took? You knew beyond a shadow of a doubt you were the dude. Was that in the preseason? That your first year as a snapper? Was it in a regular season game? Was it week 1? Or was it sometime down the road?
Kind of a series of plays, actually, because I was playing guard on punt while the other snapper was snapping, and then Tom would be like, hey, you're snapping this one. And I remember we were playing Detroit in the preseason, and I was playing guard. It was probably the second or third punt of the game. And we snapped it. I ran down. I made the tackle. The very next punt, coach was like, all right, you're snapping. So I snapped it, did my job, ran down, and made the tackle again. And that's when I was like, well, I can do it from both positions. Like, just snapping the ball isn't holding me back from making tackles. And if I learn how to snap, I can put it together and really make a career out of it. And that was kind of not really a turning point, because I just always have felt like whatever situation I was in, I could find a way to make it work. But it was really like all right, I can definitely do this, and really I can make plays from here and influence the game from the snapper position.
So you happen to play with Adam Vinatieri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
For sure.
He's made a ton of money, made a ton of kicks, and has got at least 3 Super Bowl rings, if not more. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings.
3 with New England and 1.
Holy smokes. Okay. So what have you learned from a guy like that?
Just starting with how he takes care of himself. And no matter what position you're playing, to play, this will be 24 seasons or something.
Unbelievable.
Like, you got to figure it out, what you need and your body needs, and then just like mentally staying focused every season to be your best. And he comes to every training camp dialed in and ready to go. I'm not sure exactly what he does in the off season to just prepare for that, but the season is long, and he's played 23 of them already, so he's been in so many stressful situations, and he just comes to work every single day with a mindset of being dialed in and focused on what he's doing.
That's a great resource to have that guy in the room, and to
Not
have that
just
guy who's one of
football
your...
wise and just life wise. I've asked him questions about the random stuff as well, and he's always happy to answer them, and he's a good guy in the meeting room.
Okay, so let's talk about pressure situations. How do you prepare yourself on the sidelines for an end of the game kick where it might be adverse weather conditions, might be windy, might be rainy, the ball might be wet, it might be slippery, and you're the first guy that has to make this chain of events happen for the Colts to win the game. Okay? Then he's worried about the ball placement, he's worried about his foot placement, and he doesn't want to worry about the snap.
Sure.
Okay, he's got to depend on you putting it where it's supposed to be. Do you think about a lot of things before you run on the field? Do you think about 1 or 2 things? Do you visualize yourself doing it excellent before you get there? Do you just wing it and hope it works out?
I'm going to steal some of Coach Frank Reich's words. The way we practice and our approach to every day is just getting, as cliche as it sounds, 1% better every day. And the reason we do that is to increase our capacity so that when we're in these pressure situations, to us, they don't feel like a pressure situation. And we use, I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary Solo, the dude that free climbs big mountains with no ropes or anything.
Okay.
People are like, you're crazy, you gotta be crazy. But to him, he's not fearful of it because his capacity of what he's scared of is so large that he's done it before. That's his comfort zone. His capacity of comfort is so large. So in practice, we do every situation you can think of. Wet balls, if it's even if it's a nice day out, I'll just dump water on a ball, or counting down the clock. Oh shit, running out there, kick a field goal, something like that. And so we try and like increase our capacity so that when we get in these situations, we're in our comfort zone still. So we're always in, some state of comfort. We're not thinking about, oh, this is a game-winning kick. This is a high-pressure situation. Now we're nervous about it or whatever. We're comfortable. So, like, if I know that situation's going to come up, if there's 50 seconds left and we're down 2 or 3 and we're calling plays to get ready for a field goal, I just really try and focus on it being a regular kick. We kick field goals all day, and this is just another field goal. It doesn't matter how much time is on the clock or if we're hurrying or whatever. Like, we've done it before. It's just, to me, I'm just focused on gripping the ball the same way I do, waiting for the set call and just throwing it back.
Well, what I've seen from studying championships and studying primetime performers in big games is that those are the guys that treat the game like just another game. Even though the outcome and the legacy of the result of the game could be a Super Bowl champion, national championship, whatever it might be, the game is still the game. Mm-hmm. And so when players start thinking about, oh my God, if we make this, we win. We won 7 in a row. We win our division. We go to the play. No, the best performers, all they care about is this. This is the play. This is my job. I'm just going to do my job. And if you continue to do your job over and over again, which Adam Vinatieri's done, he's played 23 years, for Lord's sakes. That's insane.
It's insane.
And how many big kicks that dude's made. It's unbelievable.
I mean, even last year when we strung together our 8 or 9 wins in a row, we had a game-winning kick at home against Miami. And, like, looking back on it now, it didn't even, like, feel like a game-winning kick or anything. That was just another part of the game. It was just another snap that I was involved in. And, like, that's where I want to be in a comfort level of whether it's a game-winning kick or the first field goal of a game. It's the same thing to me.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a silly question. Are you inhaling or exhaling when you're snapping the ball?
I guess I would be exhaling.
So do you control your breathing when you're doing your work?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
So you are exhaling.
Mm-hmm.
So I have found that athletes that exhale, create relaxation. If you can control your breathing, you can control your physical state as well. Mm-hmm. Is that fair to say?
Your oxidative stress, yeah. No, I agree. I feel like I probably don't think about it as much anymore, but I definitely have like the same breath pattern, I guess, probably as I'm getting set over the ball, have the ball in my hands. I kind of know Vinny's rhythm when he steps back. Like, I know when Rigo's going to turn and snap it, so I like kind of base my breathing on that. And by the time he turns around, turns his head, I'm like right where I want to be in my breathing, I feel like, if I'm really thinking about it.
So let's talk about, how do you view your NFL career? You have an opportunity to play for perhaps as long as you want to. Provided you have good health, excellent performance, you have job security in this business. Very few people do. But if you don't perform, you could be gone in a year. I mean, that's the nature of the beast, right?
Definitely.
So what is your plan to create longevity in your career?
My plan is, obviously continue doing what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is really trying to get better at everything I'm doing. And if you're always trying to get a little bit better, you never fall into a complacent like state of mind or physically complacent or anything like that. You're always putting yourself in a situation to practice what you're not so good at so that you can minimize the difference between your strengths and your weaknesses and kind of balance out your game so that you don't have major flaws or anything like that. And perfection is an impossible thing, but when you're chasing perfection, you find excellence, is the saying.
Very well said.
And that's where I'm chasing perfection. And, I strive to be the best in the league at what I'm doing, or no matter what position I would be playing, I'd be trying to be the best. And I feel like that's like easy to say, but when you're actually doing it, on and off the field, then it really starts to happen for you.
So being a linebacker, that was your identity your whole life, up until a couple of years ago. If the Colts, now I know you're not a linebacker, you're not going to linebacker meetings, and you're not in Indy drills with the linebackers. But if they had a catastrophe and they needed somebody in a pinch, how comfortable would you be being thrown in the game to play linebacker? Let's say you had no advance notice, no game planning, nothing. And they just need, it's either put a DB in there or put you in there.
Sure.
If they put you in, how would you approach that? How would you be prepared for that?
I mean, physically, I train with the linebackers. I run with the linebackers. My workout program is the same as the linebackers. Like, I do extra stuff myself. I always have that state of mind when I'm working out and stuff, like being strong and fast and stuff like that. But, I still understand defense, and I've done it for so long and was pretty good at recognizing stuff when I was in college and leading the defense and calling plays and changing plays and stuff like that. So, like, I understand man-to-man, cover two, all the coverages and stuff like that. But, physically, I think I could play a couple plays. It would take a while to probably get back into a run and hit rhythm and covering sideline to sideline, but I could fill in and do my job.
I was just curious because, Coach, you never know what might happen.
Ever be allowed. They'd probably throw a safety in there first. But
they probably would.
Yeah.
They'd probably throw a safety in, but if there was just a rash of injuries or something. And
I mean, if we were down to 25 guys, I'd probably find my way in there.
Yeah. Okay.
I almost went on a punt return 2 years ago.
Really?
My first year snapping, yeah. Because we were so beat up.
Well, that would be more likely.
I could see, like, running down on a kickoff or something.
You could run down on a kickoff.
I'm on the hands team.
That's awesome.
We had one hand situation last year.
How cool would that be to be on the hands team, have it come to you for some reason? You see an opening and you don't
scoop
just
it and score.
Yeah, scoop it and score.
I wouldn't even know what to do when I crossed the goal line. I haven't scored a touchdown since high school, and you weren't allowed to celebrate then. But it'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Okay, Luke, I'm gonna ask you a question that would be very beneficial to a young man going through his senior season or final season in college, getting ready for the Combine Pro Day and all those things, and getting ready for the 2020 draft. That's going to be a rookie next year. Knowing what you know now, going through what you went through, let's say he's a linebacker. Okay, it could be any position. What recommendations do you have to the guys? Because they're trying to come and get all your all's jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing for you is you guys know how to keep your jobs.
Sure.
So when they bring in competition, a lot of times the good dudes, the good players, they just go, bring them on. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how high you get drafted. You still got to take my job. I ain't going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
How would you recommend, let's say he's your little brother and he's a linebacker, approach his final season, approach the evaluation process, and then once he ends up getting into the league, understand, hey, now you're playing with men. How would you recommend that person attack his NFL career as a rookie?
A lot you see nowadays, people having one good season and changing their whole draft stock and stuff like that. And your senior season is important no matter what they say about it. So going into that season, I would say absolutely put your very best on film. Stay in your lane off the field. Don't make that mistake or anything like that. Especially if you're a bubble guy, like drafted, undrafted. That would ruin everything. And then going into the training process, it's you have to do every single thing that you can to get an advantage some way, somehow, and then continue to do more. It's like when I was training, we were working out twice a day and doing all that stuff, and then sometimes I would go work out on my own. I've always felt like I had to do extra stuff, like even coming out of high school and stuff, I was always doing extra stuff just to gain that little bit of advantage. And I would tell them to, as soon as they get their playbook, get in it and get ahead, even though you only learn maybe 10 plays a day, just learn it all at once and just try and get ahead in that, and so that when you get a shot, you can answer questions in the meeting room or be noticed, on the field because you know what you're doing and you can tell someone else to what they need to do or something like that. You can help out, and you really just have to approach it like you have competition. You're going to take maybe someone who's been in the league 10 years you have to take their job. They have a family, they probably have kids and stuff, and like they've been playing football their whole life too, and they're not expecting, some rookie to come in and take their job, and they're not just going to let them. They're probably not going to help you very much either. I would tell them just every chance you get to steal a rep or put something else on film, or you have to. It's not easy to do, to think about, all right, that's a 30-year-old man I'm going to try and block right now, or I'm trying to tackle right now, but you have to feel yourself like you are able to do it, and you are there. You're supposed to be there. It's supposed to be doing this, and once you like start to feel that confidence and that rhythm, it's like you know you can do it, and you find like that inner confidence and just keep doing it day in and day out.
So what are some of the things that you've seen in Tampa or in Indy where players sabotage themselves? They should have made it. They were talented enough to make it, and they got cut. And everybody's like, holy smokes, man, that guy should be on our team. What are the most common mistakes that players make?
On the field?
Wherever, on the field, off the field, to get themselves, to put them in a position where they lose their job.
Starting with like on the field stuff, no matter how talented you are, like I've always continue to say it, like knowing your plays and stuff, but when you repeatedly make the same mistake over and over again, the coach just gets tired of it and tired of you, and you do it twice, they've already like put you in the back of their mind. They're not even thinking about you anymore. Stuff like that, like making the plays that you should make, knowing your assignment, and it doesn't matter how talented you are. And then obviously off the field, you don't even think about it. Like the media, you say the wrong thing in the media, they'll twist it around, and next thing you know, you're on the headlines and you're a distraction. Mm-hmm. Being a distraction is detrimental not only to yourself, but to your whole team. It hurts the whole team, and just staying under the radar in that aspect is huge. And then obviously making your plays and being coachable.
I think one of the things I've seen that guys do on the field is the mental errors. They get frustrated with not getting reps. Yeah. And then when they get thrown in, they're not ready. When they get thrown in, it's the only play in the playbook they didn't know. Okay.
It always seems to be like that too.
It always works out that way, right? So it's like you study your ass off, you know the whole playbook backwards and forward, and there seems to be a play or two that you're not really sure about, and you don't ask anybody, you don't get clarification from a vet, you don't get clarification from your position coach. Not that hard to do, but you just don't do it because you're busy with other things on your mind. And then they throw you in, you've never run the play before, and you guess wrong. Now you're busted. And now they think, this is what I see. If a guy makes a mistake, sometimes it's forgivable. Sometimes he makes a mistake, they just throw him all out. They assume if he didn't do that right, he can't do anything right.
Definitely.
If he didn't know that, he doesn't know anything. Now, he knows 99.9% of the dang playbook, but he didn't know that play. And the position coach is like, if he didn't know his playbook, we can't keep him. So I really think it's about unconscious competence. You got to have complete control and command of the playbook. And so unconscious competence, I've spoken about it before, is when you black out and somebody asks you a question, you go, yeah, my middle name's this, my birthday's this. You don't have to think about it. You just know. Mm-hmm. You have to know the playbook to that degree. And I also think that it's the second component that I see is an identity crisis that players have. You might have been the all-time tackling career leader in your college when you left.
I think it was top 4.
Top 4. Okay. So here you are, 4-year starter at a really nice school, and you're the dude for 4 years. And you go to the NFL, and they give you baby reps. And you aren't at the front of the line. You don't get to go in with the 1s. You did get to go in with the 2s, but a lot of rookies don't even get to go in with the 2s. Mm-hmm. And the 3s and 4s don't get very many reps.
At all.
At all. Sometimes 1.
They might not even get a rep in a preseason game.
Might not. They're told, hey, you're going to go in the last series, and there's no last series because the other team
runs the clock out. Got the 4-minute offense going. You're not even getting in. What I feel like is important is to have unconscious competence in the playbook and to deal with your identity. And you had a unique
challenge with your identity, because being a linebacker for your whole life and then moving to snapper, people probably didn't look at you the same. Maybe didn't treat you the same. I mean, for some reason, the dudes on the team look at the specialists like, hey, man, you guys aren't real football players. You just kick the ball.
I did it for my whole career.
Yeah. And now you're one of those guys.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, now I live the life. I'm like, what do we do for the next 2 hours? Kind of thing. So we find ways to work on something.
So walk me through, like, with the Colts in a typical in-season practice. Is the special teams at the beginning of practice? Is it, sprinkled in throughout practice, or is it an end of the practice regimen?
Yeah, depending if, like, Vinny's kicking, he usually kicks twice a week, field goals and stuff like that. We kind of tailor the schedule to him because he takes a while to, get his body ready, and he gets all this treatment and mobility stuff beforehand. So if it's a field goal day, we go out usually 30 minutes before team stretch, and we'll start warming up for field goal. Vinny will start warming up. Immediately after team stretch, we'll do our field goal period. It's usually 10 to 12 kicks, just kind of based on how Vinny's feeling and how it's going, whatever. And then they'll go through individual and a couple team periods and stuff like that, and then we'll do, if it's a punt day or kick return day or something, we'll do another 10-minute period or 12-minute period in the middle of practice. And, if Vinny's not kicking, it's kind of the same. We'll do usually punt at the very beginning of practice. We'll go out early and get Rigo ready to punt, and then we'll do kickoff or something later in practice.
So what are you doing on the sideline when they're going through offense and defense, team periods and walkthroughs and all the things that they do? What do you guys do? Do you work on improving your skill? Do you talk about situations? Do you tell jokes? I mean, what is kind of like the mojo for the specialist in an NFL practice?
If it's a field goal day again, we'll kick our 10 kicks, and then they go and usually have 4 or 5 periods of stuff. So that's when we'll do our situational stuff, and it's just the 3 of us and the 2 special teams coaches on our own field, working on situations and talking situations through, and then we start warming up again for the next. If it's punt, we start warming up punt stuff. So that first break, like in between the first special teams period and the second, is usually we'll continue to kick field goals and do situational stuff, and then get ready for punt, or Rigo's got to get ready for kickoff. And then we do that, and then once we're done with that period, there's usually 3 or 4 periods left of practice, we'll go inside and start getting our recovery stuff ready, and we're not just staying out there. And
you don't just waste time out there.
No, and Coach is fine with it. He's like, we're not going to make you waste time out here or something. Like, sometimes we'll have a situational field goal in practice or something. They're doing a call-it period, so there's no script. They're just running it through. There's 2 minutes left, so we'll be out there ready for a 2-minute field goal or something. But other than that, that first in-between period is like kind of ours to work on our own situational stuff, and then after that we go inside.
Okay, I am totally shifting gears on you now. It wasn't too long ago I was in Punta Cana for a destination wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were the groom.
I was.
Okay, and you have a beautiful wife, Hannah, and at the reception, these 2 people came out and did this dance routine, okay? So tell our audience about what you guys did, how you prepared for it, whose idea it was, and I was there to be a witness. You guys pulled it off with flying colors, but what were your fears? We all have fears.
There's some big ones in that too.
Yeah, sometimes for a big game, you kind of think, oh man, I got to make sure I'm this.
I would rather kick game-winning field goal every week of the season than do that dance again. It's like, not really, but
I get you.
Mentally, I was definitely more nervous going into that than a football game, because that's just like something out of my comfort zone and stuff like that. But so we had this idea that we wanted to not just do our first dance, but make it a choreographed, kind of contemporary dance to a modern song. And so we were researching dance lesson instructors around the Indy area and someone that could teach us some of the moves we wanted to do. So our original choreographer, we started 6 weeks before the wedding, getting ready for this dance. So we took lessons for 6 weeks, about 2 or 3 times a week. And he was teaching us all the steps and stuff. We did the song Speechless by Dan and Shay. And we were like, well, we want to do some flips, like flip around my waist, pick her up over my head. And that's not like his style of dancing. So he sent us to a guy in Ohio. So we drove to Ohio one day and learned how to do all that. And then brought it back, and he kind of put it in the dance where we wanted it, like on the big moments or whatever. And, the fears, I guess, would be not really just like forgetting a step or something, because nobody else knows the dance, so I can just play off it. But it'd be like when I'm spinning around, we're on a concrete slab, like dropping her head.
One time came like 6 inches from the.
Yeah, it's just, she really had to trust me, and I had to like trust her, because when I'm throwing her around, she's got to crunch and stuff like that, and I'm lifting her up over my head, and she's got to like stay tight and not make it hard on me. But she did a really good job, and she knew the dance, and I knew it. We was definitely nervous. I could feel my heart in my ears going out there for that. And it's like in front of your own peers and friends and family, but it's still like I wanted to be perfect and for her. And
No, I thought it was perfect, and I thought also that I've never been to Dancing with the Stars, but I thought I was seeing it live and in action right in front of me with you guys, because you really look like pros. It showed that you guys had practiced a lot, put a lot of energy into it. I'm guessing you didn't have any alcohol before you did the dance, because all the moves and lifts and twists and turns you guys did.
I probably had half a beer, I think.
Yeah, so you had to be smart about it.
Yeah, I was.
Didn't want your wife to get a concussion
definitely
within
not.
a couple hours after getting married.
Yeah. No, it was fun, though.
Well, that was a blast. We really enjoyed it. In looking ahead, now that you have the opportunity to solidify yourself as one of the best, if not the best guys that's a long snapper in the league, you have a contract associated with it, you're in a great organization, you've got an outstanding punter, one of the best in the league, you've got maybe the GOAT of all time as the place kicker. What are you hoping happens the next couple of years in your career with the Colts?
I'm hoping, you never know how long Vinny's going to keep playing. So at some point we'll have to develop a relationship with another kicker. And I really feel like they want Rigo and I to stay together, the punter, and we have a good thing going with our field goal and our punt snaps and how he holds the ball and stuff like that. And so I really want to continue developing our special teams unit to be like the unit in the league. We want to be the best unit in the league. And I think we can. We have a great special teams coach, Bubba. Recently, he's played up until 2013 or whatever, so he understands how the game is played now, and he understands schemes and with all the new rules and stuff. And we really want to just be the best special teams unit across the board. And I want to play my part as being the best long snapper in the league.
Well, you're very blessed from the standpoint that your first 2 years as a snapper and now your third year this year, you're with a Hall of Famer who has probably put you in situations and prepared you personally for situations that perhaps you may not have seen or gotten from other people.
Yeah.
And you've got consistency. And once he decides to hang up the cleats, he's got to hang them up sometime before he hits 50. Okay? But when he does, there's no guarantee that you're going to have a guy that can do what he's done. You might go through a half a dozen place kickers in 3 or 4 years, like some teams do, trying to find the right guy. Or you may be lucky. And maybe the next guy's instead too.
Okay? Even just coming in, having Vinny there, because I had never done it before, so I'd never seen any of the situations. And he really, draws them up and talks about them. And he gave me confidence right from the beginning. I'm sure Tom and at the time Coach Pagano were asking Vinny if he thinks I could do it, or and he always had my back and really felt confident with me there. And he was probably able to make up for maybe a lower snap or a longer time or something, just as I was developing and learning, and really made me feel more confident having him back there who could make up for a mistake or a little spin of a lace or something. So he definitely helped with that.
Well, one of the things that I really enjoyed watching this year was, you guys won the first playoff game in Houston. You went to Kansas City and played a very high-powered offense there. You guys punted to Tyreek Hill
6 times in a row.
And you almost made the tackle. So low. You were so close. He made them bubble out. So at least you helped your coverage.
He only gained 4 yards on that return.
Only 4 yards. Okay.
Probably ran 60 yards, but yeah.
So what I'm hoping for you guys, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting in your chair over there, I would love for you guys to have the success the Colts had in 2007 and get an opportunity to work your way through the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. Because I've had a lot of clients that have played in the game that have lost. I've had a lot of guys that played in the game and won. It is a career-defining game. Okay. And I really hope that, as you journey through your career, you get an opportunity to do that, because it is kind of a special week and a special game. It's just a game, but the results of it are very special. And I also think that I'm really looking forward to 3 or 4 years from now, and you're going to get an opportunity to go get another bite of the apple, because we're going to have a new CBA. Mm-hmm. You're going to be solidified in 3 years. Now you'll have 5 years under your belt as a snapper, and because of how you take care of your body during the off season, all the time, but especially in the off season,
yep,
you have an opportunity at 30 to be more athletic than most of the guys at 24.
Sure.
And so as you gain experience, as you take care of your body, as you build a very strong track record, you're going to be doing this multiple times. And I think your biggest challenge is just going to be identifying bigger dreams and bigger goals and new ways to stay fit, new ways to stay excited. Because as you work through your journey in the league, man, when guys hit 30 and you can't relate to half the guys in the locker because they're all in 25, and now you and Hannah have a kid or two, that's what Adam's had to deal with. That's what sure. Vinny's been dealing with.
Definitely.
He's figured it out. I mean, you don't play at 46 with guys that could be your kids.
I know it. It's true.
Right? So, I just want to wish you the best. I want to thank you for being on our podcast. I want to thank you for coming out for our camp.
Anytime. I love being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Mindset. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. 5 stars, of course. You can follow us on our website, ProMindsetPodcast.com, or on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pro Mindset Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you the next time.